Welcome to the Mommy Mentor Podcast. This parenting bullshit is hard, am I right? From sleepless nights with newborns to sleepless nights with teens, from potty training to sending them off to college, I'm here to get you through it all as your mommy mentor. My name is Erinn Kennedy-Heldt, and I'm a registered nurse and a mom of 3. I have professional experience with moms and babies as a postpartum nurse, which keeps the postpartum and newborn experience fresh in my mind. And I have 17 years of parenting experience as well. For information on this podcast and more, go to mommymentorpodcast.com. Parents, grab a cup of whatever you prefer and settle in for the next episode. Hello, Mommy Mentor audience. This is our second episode with Tabatha Thorell. Am I saying it right, Thorell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tabatha describes herself as a speaker, an author, a coach, an entrepreneur, a podcaster, and a real estate investor. She also says about herself that she is a dynamic individual whose life is characterized by a blend of family, entrepreneurship, and a passion for helping others achieve their dreams. She was born and raised in rural Nebraska, and her journey has been a testament to hard work, perseverance, and a commitment to making a positive impact on the lives of those around her. Married to her high school sweetheart, Tabatha is not only a devoted wife, but also a loving mother to 5 wonderful girls. Family has always been at the core of her values, and she embraces the joys and challenges of motherhood with unwavering dedication. Tabatha's professional journey is marked by versatility and a deep commitment to personal development. She started her career 16 years ago as a fitness coach, and she was helping individuals achieve their health and wellness goals. Her energetic and persistent approach quickly earned her a reputation as a motivating force in the fitness industry. I have spoken with Tabatha about her areas of expertise, and I cannot wait to share them with you. So this episode will be talking about teaching our kids about money. So the first question, and I was really intrigued about in our pre-meeting when you talked about teaching your kids to make their money work for them and work smarter and not harder. So how can, as an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, you've learned valuable lessons working smarter, not harder, to achieve financial success. How can parents translate these principles into teachable moments for their children to empower them to make sound financial decisions and pursue opportunities for wealth creation?
When I say smarter, not harder, this whole concept is really a Dan Kennedy concept. If anybody's in the marketing world, Dan Kennedy's known. And then Benjamin Hardy kind of rewrote it. He wrote a book, the who, not the how, and a whole bunch of other books on, working smarter, not harder. And it's also in the whole biohacking world. I'm in the fitness and nutrition world. So, Dave Asprey, he wrote a book called Smarter Not Harder in the regards of fitness and nutrition. So this really goes in every premise. And the reason why I say it is because I grew up and you work hard. Like I'm from the Midwest and I love the mindset, you got to work hard, just work hard, work hard, work hard. But I had a dad who worked hard, really hard in a blue collar job. And he worked, we're talking 12, 15-hour days, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. Like he worked hard. And we weren't financially free in any stretch of the imagination. We weren't even financially free. Like there was no like anything,
Yep.
And we were financially scarce. Now we had an abundance of love and we had an abundance of family and all of those things were great. But at the premise was the scarcity mindset. Like it's all going to go away or we don't waste food. Like, that's a big mindset, like drilled into me. We don't waste anything and we use everything. We don't throw anything away. And this hoarding mentality and all these different things that I was grown up with. And a lot of it has served me well, but some of it has not. And your listeners, there's stuff that you were taught that is serving you well, but some of it isn't. And it's time to let go of that. And I still believe like you have to work hard, but can you work smarter? Are there ways? The only difference between us and the animal kingdom is our brain. Think about that. Like, I will never be stronger than an elephant. I will never be faster than a cheetah. I will never have the swiftness of a chimpanzee in the tree. Like, those are like, I'm just not going to be that. That's
Right.
not me. But I can be smarter. And and think about like, okay, I'm not stronger than an elephant, but how can I leverage something with this tool and create that so that I could actually move that boulder, right? So like we were given our brains to think smarter. And when you look at this, there's like 4 levels of work per se, if you want to say this. And it's is a biblical principle, but the bottom level is labor. So like where we live, that's a lot of labor and it's hard work. And I see these men and women and they're working hard and they're doing what they can. And some of them it is their skill set and they're doing amazing at it. But that's the bottom level. You're only going to make so much at that bottom level. Labor is only so much. And it's really about what the output that you're serving at what impact you can make as a labor. Okay. Then the second layer is management. So you're managing the people that are doing the labor. So that's a little bit, you're going to have a little bit higher in the pay scale. So that's management. And this is a concept that I learned from one of my mentors, Joe and Eileen, as a program I did. So I do have to give credit to them because I kind of knew this concept in different areas, but they laid this out very simply. So that's kind of what I'm doing for your audience. So you have the labor, then you have the management, and then you have communication. And that's what you would think of like actors and artists and um authors and people who can communicate very well. They communicate feeling. And we like that. And so we give them a little bit higher pay scale. They can communicate to the masses. So they're impacting more lives, so they're earning more income. See how like that transcends?
Mm-hmm.
So they can communicate things because our world and the way that God created us, I mean, it's several points in the Bible of different languages, we need to be able to communicate with each other. So of course that's higher on like the pay scale, but also like on a, impact scale. And then the top tier is imagination. And the reason why this is imagination is because you use your brain. It is working smarter. You see a tree and you don't just see a tree, you see a house. And that's what imagination does. It opens up innovation, it opens up creativity, it opens up to a world where we're not like prehistoric times where we were like equal with the animals, right? Like we thrive in that. And that's why that's the top tier. That's why financial abundance at that tier level is through the roof because your imagination gets to decide. Your brain, you're working smarter. So with my kids right now, they're like what I call like the financial infancy, right? Like they know they want money because they want the things, but they're not quite sure how to manage it. They see their friends, they see people stressing about money. There's all this emotion. They want that shirt, they want that drink, they want the concession, whatever convenience thing, but it's $12 or it's $8 or it's $57 or this pair of sweatpants is 50, but this pair of sweatpants is 12. What makes this better and worse? And all of the things they're learning, it's infancy. It's like when a child comes up and you're like trying to teach them to crawl and then you teach them to walk and it's all new and it's overwhelming. It's scary, but it's exciting. And that's what it is for your kid in the financial world. They're being exposed to all of this and to put matters not worse or better, I guess, but they're comparing themselves to their friends. Their friends get everything and they don't have to work for it, or their friends have nothing and they work really hard or whatever. They're seeing all these different um the viewpoints of money and they're putting it in their brain and their brain is deciphering, is this good, is this bad, what emotion am I getting, how do I feel about this? And it's our job as parent to manage that emotion and teach them the values of money and that money is a tool. That is all money is. It is, and actually, money itself, I wish I had a piece of paper. It's just a paper. Like it's just a piece of paper. And right now, unfortunately, like what the actual paper says is not actually its true value because of currency and things that have happened, but that's a whole nother podcast. But it's just a piece of paper and it's a tool, it's a resource for you to use for good. Now, in our world, back in the day, you used to trade services and things like that. But now we don't really do that. It's pretty much money. I want this thing. I'm going to trade my money for this thing, for this service, for this enjoyment, for this luxury, or for this necessity, whatever that is. And so when you can teach your kids that part of it, that is just a tool, but it's a tool that you need to earn. Now, the way you earn it is different ways. Are you that labor, management, communication, imagination? Which level are you at? I think it is very important for all kids to learn labor, learn the level. So I do think that you need to teach your kids to scrub a toilet, to clean a floor, to, take out the garbage, do all of those things. Now, are you teaching them to be a garbage man? Are you teaching them to be a maid? There's nothing wrong with that. That's labor. But I'm going to teach my kids a level up. You're going to be the owner of that garbage company. You're going to be the owner of that maid service. You're going to be the, at least the communicator, but probably the imagination of it because you created that business, right? Because you have the mind to do it and you have the capability and the abundance to do it. You just might need to find the who that branches out of that. So with our kids, it's just little things. Now, again, we have 1 to 14. So our 14-year-old, we're getting a little bit more in depth of what it takes. But she's been mowing yards since she was 8. She had a knack for being an amazing lawnmower. Like she just really did a great job. And so we're like, okay, well, so we're going to pay you this for this. But we taught her early on, if you want to do this when you're a little bit older, you need to learn to be the boss. Like, could you hire one of your friends to mow a couple yards and then you pay them a wage and then, you get the income and we break that down for them, whatever. But we taught her like you can actually make more and help other kids who don't have a lawnmower but could do it and they need money. And where we live, you have to kind of drive a little bit to get a job, like at even a fast food restaurant. So you're saving them gas so they can come here. You're providing an opportunity for them to earn income. And then you're freed up to either get more lawns or manage this or whatever. And you're actually going to make more money. And
Hmm.
you don't even have to mow lawns if you don't want to.
Right.
So you can make money not doing that thing. Now she enjoys mowing lawns, so that really wasn't an enticing thing for her. But my second oldest daughter does not like to mow lawns. But I said, if you guys work together, Emlyn, you can be kind of the management, the person who like hires the people because she has organization skills. And Adriana, you can kind of be the labor. You guys can kind of co-do this and you can find people. Just teaching them that's how you can have money and services working for you. You're still helping out other people because other people, kids who wouldn't have a job, especially like at 13, 14,
Right.
and teaching them those things. Now there's tax stuff and all that, but like just in general, just teaching them those principles or like having them create a business and a business plan. And that's what we're doing with our kids this summer. They both have to create a our two older ones, they both have to create a business. And even our 9-year-old, if she wants to do that, it'll look a little different. But our two older ones, like if they create a business, what the business plan is, who they would hire, finances, money, they have to do the research, like what is this person paid? What does this person entail? What are all the things? They have to create that. And even in the itself, them creating it, they will receive compensation for us because I want to teach my kids that even doing the work of thinking of it will pay you. Because
Mm.
we pay kids to do a service, like, rake the yard, do this. But do you pay your kids to read a self-development book? Do you pay your kids to develop a business? Those are the same. You're still working. You're just working the mind. And it's teaching them if you think smarter, you will get compensated. And in that world, because it's true in our world, when you think smarter, you will be compensated. And
Mhm.
and to like think innovation and think those different things. So just a little bit differently. So thinking outside the box. Now, do we do this perfectly? No, because we have so much going on. We don't have a lot of time. Right?
Mhm.
Like we have good intentions as parents. We're like, yes, that sounds awesome. But oh my gosh, like we haven't done it. Like there's something we've been meaning to do with our kids since December and it's March. And I
Yeah.
told my daughter today, I said, we're sitting down and we're doing this, right? And so we have actually, my husband and I developed a mastermind, a group where we help parents do this with their kids.
Mm.
We walk alongside them and we give them a structure so that it's actually done. Because we know that, like, again, we have the good intentions and we want this. We also know that kids hear better from a third party. So
Mhm.
somebody else that says something the same way we could helps layer it. And then you bring in other peer groups. So our vision of this is to bring the kids in and them having their own mastermind. Like if they all
Mhm.
create a business and like they get together and they use their resources and they think differently. they think the smarter, and they're around other kids that think that. Because,
Mm.
my kids aren't always around those kids that are thinking that, and I want them to be around those, type of kids. And so it's up leveling, it's teaching them to invest. And I can talk more about that, or if you have another question, but that's kind of what we do as far as like in our household. Yes, they do jobs, and for money, like those are things like it's a trade-off. There's a whole tax structure to that too, where you can pay your kids and it's a tax deduction and they pay for things.
I did not know that.
Yes, yeah,
How
yeah,
about
there's a
that?
whole world. And see, those are all little nuances that like when we join our group, like we teach you guys like tax breaks and how you can pay your kids and all the things, because you don't always know that. And taxes are our number one expense.
Yeah, you're
And
telling
so
me.
if you can, yeah, so if you can have any breaks with taxes, like we're all about that. And we work with tax strategists and people like that. So there are definite ways that you can teach your kids too. We do have to pay taxes. We're not about not paying taxes. That is never my intention. I'm not about, trying to be shady or do anything, but I'm
Of
going to do
course.
all the good things that are out there. There's a lot of tax laws that just the common person doesn't know. And so I want them working for me. Again, working
That's so
smarter.
smart.
I want to work smart instead of harder because I'm sick of working harder. My body's not going to take it anymore.
I know, like that's exactly where I'm at. Like, and I can see it in my daughters. Like they definitely they're 15, 17, they're 17.
Yeah.
And they both have jobs and they both are very responsible and they like to work and they're like, well, if I need money, I have to work more. And I'm like, that's not exactly what I want you to like think
Right.
of. And like
Yeah.
that's the like you said, you came from that kind of a family too. You work so hard, so hard, so hard
Yep.
and like we should be having more money for how hard we work.
Oh, yeah.
And so I completely hear you in like trying to, and I have no expertise in this, so I'm going to ask you where to find your course, that mastermind thing. That's genius because you're right. I think most parents can teach their children, you work, you get paid. You use your
Yep.
money that you get paid to pay your bills or exchange them for a service, etc. But no one's thinking of the leveling up, the other
Yep.
levels that you could be doing or teaching your kids. It's so common to just be like work, get paid, repeat the cycle.
Yep.
So
Trading
where,
time for money.
yeah,
And, and
exactly.
that's the worst. It's called horse trading. I mean,
Mhm.
really, that's what you're doing. You're trading your precious commodity, which is time,
Mhm. Yes.
for something else. Now, again, we need employees, we need laborers. That's not what it's about. And if you, I really think everyone should kind of start there so
Yes.
like what it takes, but you shouldn't stay there. If you are someone who has labored and you've worked hard and you've done it, you deserve to be at that top level or at least the second level up or the third level up. But people think, oh, I can't communicate. Oh, I don't have an imagination. I'm not creative. Oh, I'm not the Walt Disney. I'm not Steve Jobs. That's not what I mean.
Mhm.
Imagination is used in so many different ways.
Mhm.
You just had a clouded view of it because you've always been the laborer. And there's a
Right.
deservant mentality of that. Like, I don't deserve that, or money doesn't define me, or money is evil, or if I get money, I'm gonna be that, like the Scrooge, right? Every movie depicts the
Yeah.
person who is wealthy as a horrible person, and that is not truth. That is a lie. There is so much good that comes from people who are good with money. Money is not bad. Your
Yeah.
feeling, emotion, and relationship is money is what is bad and what is tainted. And
Mhm.
you need to fix that because otherwise you will constantly be working towards something else.
Mhm.
Because if money was bad, you wouldn't even work for it then.
Right.
If that's what you really thought, if that's truly what you thought, and if money was not a source of a lot of emotion, then it would be indifferent. It wouldn't matter. But
Mhm.
it is like we need it. It's like oxygen. Like you have to have monies to survive in this world. Now, the ways that you get it and the ways that you give it in your heart, those are all different things. But money is like oxygen. You need it to survive. And
Yeah.
I want you to thrive because, again, we are humans. We're not just animals. We're not created just to survive. No matter what your belief pattern, if you're just believing in the universe or whatever, like we were not just put on this earth just to like survive and get through it. Like
I
there's
agree.
a reason why our world is thriving in technology and all of these things. And we can say, oh, it's we're hitting the apocalypse, all this stuff and AI is all the, or we can think, oh my gosh, imagine the world that is opening up and how many more lives that we can change and impact and do good for. So you have two different viewpoints of this, and I just choose to look at the good of it.
And I agree. Like money is a tool. It's not evil. We all need it. And you can say all those things like it's bad or it doesn't define me. And we're not saying it defines you, but it definitely will define the things that you can do in the world and
Yep.
the way that you can help the world. Yes, I definitely see money as a tool, as something I can use to gain good life experiences, to help others do the same, to be charitable, to be able to pay back where I've been helped,
Yep.
those types of things. And so I fully agree that yes, there's definitely an emotional connection with money, and that's usually where, because like you said, we need it. We need it like we need to breathe because we need it to for survival. But I literally just made an Instagram reel about this. We're not here to just work 40 hours a week and
No.
come home and get ready for the work the next day, go to bed and do it all over again. Like that's not why we're here. Doesn't matter what belief system you fall under. That is not
Right.
why humans are put here.
Well, especially when that creates negative emotion in you.
Hmm.
And that's another thing that people, a lot of times that like will rebuttal what I say. They're so unhappy. And I'm like, okay, that unhappiness, is that breeding joy? Is that breeding kindness? Is that bringing peace? No. So what's wrong with that picture? So you're saying for me that my viewpoint isn't, but it breeds joy, happiness, peace, prosperity, all of these amazing things. But because pride, nobility, whatever you want to label it as, like, no, I don't need that. Like, I don't need to make $1 million. And oh, the scam artist, or oh, greed, or whatever. You're going to have that kind of heart, whether you make $5 a day or $500,000 a day, no matter
True.
what. It's the heart part of it. And so with our girls, we just, especially my oldest, she's always just naturally been a very big giver. Like she just would give all her gum away, and like, and I tell her all the time, I'm like, you can be a giver, but don't be a doormat,
Yep.
like there's the difference of that. But I don't know if you want me to go into like investing or.
I imagine that most people listening are in that labor part
Mhm.
of the world, even if they're adults and I
Yep.
can like myself, I'm sitting in that labor part and I'm like, how do I get to the next level? Like how
Next
do
level.
adults like level up and then
Yeah.
teach their kids to do the same?
So if you're at that labor level, and again, like I teeter with this because I'm like, I'll just do it all myself. And I have to like sit and consciously be like, no, where's my time spent? If you are somebody who's labor driven or like hard work, like I'll just do it myself, and you find yourself like constantly busy and doing all the things, it's hard for you to sit. And that's where
Yes.
the imagination level, the top level is. You have to sit. And you have to think about your skills, and you have to think about your dreams, and you have to think about what you can create. And so a lot of times that starts with where you're at. So like if you are at the labor level, okay, like for me, like in my coaching business, okay, so I can do all the things, like even being like, so coaching is a little bit like a kind of the management communication. It's like in between a little bit because I am the leader of my company, but I'm still like managing like people who work under me, and then like I'm communicating. So you can kind of be in a couple of the buckets. Don't think like, you're always here. I mean, there
Hmm.
are some people that are just in the imagination level and they've built like, $1 million businesses. But like if you think imagination, like in the business world, I'm going to just cut it off to like if you're a business in the imagination level, you have to sit and think. So for me, I'll sit and I'll be like, who am I supposed to serve? What problem am I supposed to solve? What's happening right now in the world or just in general? Who, like, that is a big imagination. Like, and then, okay, so I'm supposed to coach, but how can I make that innovative? How can I make that different? How can I make a bigger impact? How can I be unique? What little nuance? Is it an app? Is it a group program? The program me and my husband are doing is actually that. It's a mashup of helping people buy their first income property, which is investing, and helping them invest into their family so that their kids keep the legacy wealth they build, but also build their own legacy wealth.
Mm.
And you do that through characteristics, right? Like you teach them characteristics. You don't just teach them about investing, you teach them about good character, ownership, leadership, all of those things. And as entrepreneurs, it's again, you want to do those things and you might say it a few times, but are you being specific to them in that moment? Probably not, because you have so many hats. You're in the labor, you're in the management, right? So if you're in the labor, the first thing I would say is you need to figure out a way where you could even sit for like, even if 10 minutes. But if you can do longer, but just even 10 minutes of just sitting quietly, do a few deep breaths, think of what business you're in or want to create, and just allow that to happen. And then if something comes up, like maybe you want to, design purses and put it on Etsy, or maybe you want to um, build a coaching business, or maybe you want to do an online e-com, whatever, like it doesn't matter. Even if it's something you create, like purses or earrings, and that's labor, right? Allow it to come. Okay, then what's that look like? If I don't want to do the labor, who do I need to hire? What's that hierarchy look like? How much do I need to make for that? Like, you're creating this space of like imagination. We a lot of times just look at imagination. We just automatically think like Walt Disney and like drawing, painting, like creating like physical things. Imagine a business, even if you're someone who consults. Maybe you're someone who wants to do solar panels, or you know um fitness, or what it doesn't. Don't think of imagination as only like a specific box. Look at it like you want to imagine this business, like an 8-figure business. And what's that look like? What's your team look like? What building do you want to be in? And just allow yourself to envision that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always say, like, then reverse engineer it, because you're not going to automatically go to that place and be like, okay, yay, I have an 8-figure business, right? You
Right.
might have to do a little labor, and it's fine to be the labor. Again, I'm not saying the labor is bad. Don't stay there. Don't think
Mm-hmm.
your whole life like I have to stay in this labor. Say, how can I get out every day, and every way I'm, getting better and better. Every day I'm getting out of this labor. So you might take the first step up and just be like the manager, and you might manage a company that where you're not even the boss yet. Maybe it's not your own boss, or maybe you're managing people for your own company. It doesn't matter. But you're taking that step up. Your salary increases, your responsibility increases, but you're continually to imagine like, okay, I'm going to build this, I'm building this, I'm building this. And again, surrendering to just yours, but open up to like all opportunities of that. So I used to think I wanted an 8-figure coaching business in what I was doing, like either fitness or personal development, and this and this and this and this. And then I surrendered, and then like some speaking stuff came up, and then some speaker training came up. And then it was like, hey, why aren't you coaching people on real estate? You've been doing
Mm.
it for 20 years. I'm like, well, because I'm not an agent. Well, you don't need to be an agent. Like, this is what happens in my imagination thing. But what if you did that? But I don't know how to do this kind of deal. I'm not good with contract. But what if you found someone to do that for you? Oh, but I'm not
Mm.
good at tax strategy. But what if you found someone to do that? And then someone came into my life through a speaking engagement, right?
Wow.
So like it is just opening up those doors of like, oh, I don't need to have all the pieces because I don't know how to run an 8-figure company. Are you joking?
Right.
I need to know it. I just need to envision it. I need to imagine it. I need to imagine the people. Like I'd have a chief marketing officer and what that would look like, and this, and opening up that imagination. And then how can I communicate that to other people to see my vision, to see what I want to create? And then, oh, did I not communicate that? So do I need to sharpen those skills a little bit? How can I communicate in my own way? Like maybe I'm an introvert and I don't know. So maybe I blog.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I do some pictures on Instagram where I don't have to talk. I can just throw pictures, right? So we can communicate in all different ways. It doesn't just have to be voice. How can I show people this is the vision? This is what I'm imagining. So
Mm-hmm.
it's taking that first step. So you can technically jump from labor to imagination, but what you imagine might not be created overnight. That might be the steps of in between, and you might teeter in between. But eventually, the goal is to go up to that imagination level and just be the one who is imagining and creating a space and being that true leader of like overseeing this, and then communicate. And you might eventually have a communications officer to where you don't even have to necessarily communicate. You just have to communicate to that person, right?
Right.
So it's those different levels, and that's how you can teach your kids. Like with my daughter with the lawn mowing, she first had to lawn mow because she needed to know what it took to lawn mow, and like what. Okay, so then if she wants to go up and manage one person, have one person hire under you. And then if she sees this as a bigger company, then she needs to communicate that to people. She needs to learn to communicate, but she has to have a vision for what that company is, not my vision, like what
Hmm.
her vision is. And if it's not, it's not. And if she wants to stay at that management level, but we will always, always uplift her until they're dead or I'm dead. Like I will always show them the vision of what that imaginative level, because that literally is the sky's the limit. Nonprofits, philanthropy, true giving, all of the things just really explode on the top two levels.
So just helping them really like expand their thought process on what making money can look like, like
Yes.
with children, like you said, your daughter, well, I'm gonna mow lawns or like my daughter's babysit,
Yep.
like those types of things. And maybe you're not available one day, but one of your friends is. And if the person is okay with them your friend babysitting the kids, then
Yep.
you can be like, okay, friend, you're gonna go babysit for me, and I'm gonna pay you a part of what I would get paid,
Yep.
that kind
Yeah.
of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Some people think like, okay, in that instance, then you should give your friend the full amount. Not true. This is where the thinking comes in.
because you found the
I
job
You
for her.
found the first
Mm-hmm.
job and you built trust and credibility with that person, which
Mm-hmm.
is huge. And then you're giving this person a job who would normally not have a
Have a
job.
job. Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
that is a backwards thinking that a lot of people, especially kids, because they feel guilty, like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I'm taking. No, 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 no. You had value in that transaction. You have
Mm-hmm.
to teach your kids their value in a transaction. And this is where it's hard where I came from because it is a very good old boy, like, yeah, this type of thing. And I'm just going to give it all. Know your value in that type of situation. If you found that person, they would normally not have it.
Right.
Okay, there's a whole story in the Bible about this, about someone who started working at the beginning of the day and they worked a full day, and someone started at noon and they worked a half day and they both got the same pay. And the person who worked the full day was angry. And the point isn't that you worked the full day or you worked the half day. You worked because I said, I will give you $20. I can't remember exactly the scripture. It's like, I'll give you $20 for this day. And you agreed upon that and you thought that was a great deal. And then all of a sudden you don't think it's a great deal because the other person worked, 5
Mm,
hours for $20. All of a sudden it's not good enough.
mm-hmm.
And that is a value transaction. That person needed to come in and help finish a job that I chose for that, right? But this is why I want my kids to be the person who's paying the laborer and not be the victim of the laborer because you don't get to decide.
Mm-hmm.
Your hands are tied by what that other person does. That's why I always want my kids to level up and think
Mm-hmm.
harder because then you get to be the person who decides the wage, not the other way around.
That's so smart. And like we don't think of that at all. Like you just think work, get paid.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
so much limited thinking on how to make money in our world, particularly the United States. And you're
Yeah.
right, like, oh, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, work hard, work hard, work hard. Well, we have only so many hours in the day. How can
Yep.
we make money in a smarter way and also keep our sanity, to
Yeah.
be honest?
And you sacrifice relationships and health for that.
Yes.
And a lot of that you don't see until you're way older, but it's like when you're sacrificing the relationships and your health for that, then what's it for?
Agreed.
You're
Fully
really
agreed.
living to work. And that's
That's not why
not
we're
what my
here.
belief is. If that's
No.
your belief, that's fine. This is going to be a horrible podcast for you. But if you truly want more relationships with your family and your kids, and you want your kids to live a better life, and it's not even that I want my kids to live an easier life, I just want them to understand principles that took me literally like 35 and 40 years to not 40, I'm not 40 yet, but 35 plus years to discover. I want them to, then they can make the conscious choice.
Right. And yes, yes, we are meant to work, but we meant to work to the point of, like you said, sacrificing relationships and our health? No, we
No,
are not.
no.
So, and often that's kind of a lot of the time what it's looking like for some people, which is super unfortunate.
Yeah.
Where can we find that mastermind thing that you were talking about?
So it's keeplegacywealth.com and you'll join a wait list. We're doing a soft launch actually this week. We do a soft launch. And so the premise is we're debating two if we want to take this in two parts, but right now it's just one program where we help families buy their first income property because we truly believe that the parents set the premise. And when you can teach your kids to invest in real estate, which is the safest and easiest way to invest your money, right now. It is, even with all the economic times, it is. Okay. We have a very simple system that we walk you through so you can find a house, you can buy the house, you can rent out the house, and all the structures in between. Okay. So you get your first income property and you bring your kids alongside. And so you're teaching them to invest money and what like that money can do for them and getting rent and tenants and all of those things. So you're teaching them the characteristics. But then we're going to allow different masterminds where we can bring the kids in and just teach them wealth characteristics, like a lot of the stuff that we just touched on today, but we go in depth and we do it in a way that they receive it, because we know kids receive things differently. So we give them fun tasks, we bring them in peer groups, we partner them up, we have different masterminds, we get them excited about making money, and we make it fun, and we make finances, we break it down as far as like essentials versus, assets versus liabilities is really kind of what we talk about, and things that you have to literally, food, rent, clothing, and then extras, and then setting goals and getting to that imaginative state. So that vision state outside the box of just go to college, get a degree, get a house, get married. Like we expand the thinking of what that truly looks like, what communication looks like, what management looks like, what labor looks like, all those different levels. We break it down, not only for the kids, but for the parents too, so they can up-level their life and their
Yes.
kids, they can enjoy them. And a lot of them, our target audience really is entrepreneurs or business owners, but anybody that's even willing to expand their wealth and say, I'm not just going to work this 9 to 5 and hate my life until retirement and go beyond. So it's keeplegacywealth.com. You get put on the wait list. We'll be sending you some emails and have conversations. Direct message me on Instagram. I'm at tabthorell.com, and I'll have a conversation with you about this, about what the investment is to come into the program. Because again, when you have to invest in yourself and your education and you becoming better, I look at it like an insurance policy. We pay so much out for the insurance of our house, the insurance of our car. Coaching programs like this, they're an insurance policy that you are going to get the skills and the education that you need to ensure your kids live a better life. And so when you can think of it like this, it doesn't matter if this program costs $100,000. You would figure out a way, because when you have to insure your house, or my husband's a farmer, when we have to insure our crops, it's our most expensive cost. But if we didn't do it, it'd be our most expensive liability.
Yes, I definitely understand that. That's so interesting. I'm gonna go check it out myself, to be honest. Your girl's not interested in working away for 40 hours a week every year for the rest of my life. Not. All right. Thank you so much, Tabitha, for your time, for the
You
double
are welcome.
interview.
It was my honor. It was fun.
Oh, well, thank you. I also had fun. I know my audience is going to learn a lot, so I really appreciate your expertise.
Well, like I said, it was my honor, and I just hope that your audience found something that serves them.
Me too. I know they will. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Mommies, that was Tabatha Thorell. She is an expert in not only parenting, clearly with her multiple years of experience, but also entrepreneurship, fitness, real estate, investing. She has a multitude of skills that she can share with you. You can check her website out at www.tabthorell.com. She has a Facebook for her coaching group, and you can find her coaching group on Facebook, Live Fierce Coaching and Consulting. You can also find her on Instagram at Tab Thorell. She also has a podcast called What Went Wrong, and you can find that on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. And she also has a TikTok at Coach Tab Thorell. So you have multiple ways that you can get a hold of her and engage with her if you would like her assistance. Like she said, she has that website that she just listed, and you can go check that out on how to learn to develop generational wealth for your family and your children. And once again, you can find me on my website at www.mommymentorpodcast.com. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok, both at My Mommy Mentor. So please like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. I would really appreciate it. And if you have any other ideas that you would like to talk about or things that you would like me to cover in my podcast, please let me know. You can send me an email from my webpage. I really appreciate your time today, mommies, and I hope you have a good whatever time of day you're listening.